Good morning, Wake Up HCC. Cris Oviedo here with you in this Thursday morning. It's Thursday, it's July 1st, it's a new month. And on the show today, we're going to talk to you about another opportunity for growth, another opportunity to further your career. We had a conversation. I know you guys are familiar now with one of our guests, Adrienne Summers. She's the Director of Apprenticeships and Workforce Innovation at Howard Community College. And Adrienne, you've joined me a few times, in the last few months because your department is busy. You guys have a lot of great opportunities. You guys are growing. You guys are creating new opportunities, and we want to make sure that everybody knows about all of these new apprenticeship opportunities that we have available. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about one of our apprenticeships programs. I have two additional guests with us this morning. We have Adam Shelter. He's a clinical engineer technician at MedStar Union Memorial Hospital. Welcome, Adam. I'm going to ask you to wave or say hello so that we know who
Hi.
you are. And then we also have Miguel Mateo, and he is an HCC student. And Miguel, I can't tell you how excited I am that you're joining us here today because, I can talk to Adrienne and she's passionate about what we do. I can talk to Adam and I'm sure that he's passionate about what he does as well. But to hear from our students, to hear to your voice, to hear what you have to say, what this experience is like for you, that's the real gold. That's the real gold right here. So welcome this morning.
Likewise,
I'm
happy to be here.
really happy to have you with us. So I always start the conversations just by getting to know my guests a little bit. And Adam, I'd like to start with you. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself and the most rewarding thing about your job as a clinical engineer technician. Welcome, everybody.
My name is Adam. I'm actually the director of clinical engineering at the hospital. I used to be an auto mechanic for almost 10 years, and I really like being a mechanic, but I saw the writing on the wall in the mid 2000s. So I wanted to get a job where it was good, steady work, but I want to be happy to do my job and be valuable to my company. So to take my skills from being an auto mechanic to troubleshooting, repairing, maintaining, I saw an opportunity to work on medical equipment. And I know that schooling is very important in life. And I saw a 2-year degree option at Howard Community College. So I went part-time at night for 3 years to get my 2-year degree in the biomedical engineering technology program, and started working on medical equipment. So you said the question was what?
The most rewarding thing about your job.
I like going and helping out the nurses and doctors whenever there's an issue with the equipment, whether it's not working correctly or is it fully down and they can't do the procedure or do any diagnosing with the equipment. I guess I'm their Superman, if you will. I'm to their rescue. I get it up and running. They can finish the patient and then move on to the next patient. So I like making them happy and they can do their jobs. So
I love that description. I love it. Like you're the superhero of the hospital, of the doctors,
yeah.
Right? Like we look at the doctors and we look at the nurses, and I know that with COVID, we really gave them credit for all that they do. But I have to say, I mean, we probably forgot that, for them to do what they need to do, we need the Adams, we need the Miguels, we need you, we need you guys to make sure that things are working in proper order in the hospital. So thank you for that. Mm-hmm. Adrienne, let's go with you. I know, like I said, that we've talked to you before. We know you well, but I would love to hear what you are most proud of, here at HCC and at the apprenticeship department.
Thank you, Chris. As you know, we started apprenticeship at Howard Community College not quite 3 years ago. And we now have our 11th occupation that we're now offering to Howard Community College, as well as the community. What I love so much about this position is being able to connect the dots. So we can provide opportunities for both employers to upskill or to provide an opportunity to hire a graduate or a student at Howard Community College, as well as we have the opportunity to connect our students to our partner employers. So it's so much about how we're providing an opportunity to develop their own career path and to really move forward in their own life. And I love the interactions that we have with so many different employers. And this particular interview is really special to me because not only is, Adam one of our business employers, but he's also a graduate of HCC, which I think is just speaks volumes. And now we have a student who's following in that same path of having that opportunity at MedStar, starting his career. And I just love this story because it's really come full circle of how he came through the program. And now he's an employer hiring one of our apprentices.
Yeah.
Continuing to create opportunities and to further and getting people like HCC says, they're from here. So absolutely. I love that part of the story as well. Miguel, I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear about you, if you can tell us maybe what inspired you to join this apprenticeship program, right? Because there's many different ways in which you can attain your goals, but you chose this apprenticeship, you chose this route. Tell us why this was the right decision for you.
So honestly, when I started out going to college, I went to play college baseball. And I've been a baseball guy my whole life, but it came to a point where I stopped playing in college and I took a year off. And not many people know this, but my uncle has been working for MedStar for 53 years. And my dad's been working for MedStar for 22 years. And at that time, everybody was really hounding on me since I took a break from school that I needed to get a job. So when I was 19, my uncle thought it was a good idea that I start off doing patient transport in the hospital. And then shortly after, I quickly recognized that I could grow and network myself and just use this as a stepping stone in the hospital. And about a couple months in, a respiratory therapist awarded me a Good Catch Award when I was doing patient transport. And I came back one day just to say hello. And she was like, Miguel, what are you doing for the rest of your life? Because I know you're not going to do transport. And I said, I don't know. I have a lot of fun in here, but I have noticed that the on-hand patient care is a little too much for me. And she was like, have you ever heard of clinical engineering? And I was like, no. And she was like, it's literally right behind me. So within that week, I grew a backbone and I walked in his office. And little did I know, he just started being a director. So we were both nervous.
Yes.
And I came in and all I said was, I want to be a part of this program, or I want to be a part of your team. And he said, well, you need to go to school for it. And here we are. So it's been an amazing, amazing growth that's happened in the last year or so.
Why did you choose an apprenticeship over going to traditional school? What was appealing to you about taking an actual apprenticeship rather than just going and, taking regular classes, fulfilling your credits? You already had the experience and you already had a way into, so it's not like you were going to lack. I know that that's one of the biggest things that students say, well, where am I going to get the experience? You were already in there. You were already kind of like halfway in the door. And yet you chose this apprenticeship. I know that that's one of the most appealing things about an apprenticeship, the experience that you get. You already had that. So when you had to make that decision, what was that factor that said to you, this is the right route, the right way for me to follow and get my career?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I'm responsible for my future. And the sheer fact that the stipulations that came with the apprenticeship, the sheer fact that my schooling would be paid for, I would get paid to work and really get hands-on learning every single day, full time, you can't beat that. I honestly would work for free, just the sheer fact that they're paying for my school. I didn't say that, but.
All right. No reasons. All right. Sweet.
But I'm very blessed to be in the position that I'm in and could not have fathomed that at 21 that I'd be right here right now.
I think you're giving Adam ideas here. He's like, wait a minute, he's going to do this for free.
I'll write that down right here.
Adrian, let's remind everybody what an apprenticeship is, because not a lot, it's a new concept. It's still a new concept. I mean, you just said 3 years at HCC. We have been hearing more and more about it. And I don't know that everybody's familiar with it. And it's a great opportunity, as we've said before, not just for those newcomers, but for people who want to change careers, switch careers. Tell us a little bit about, or remind us rather, what an apprenticeship is and what makes it so special.
My standard answer is it's an opportunity to earn while you learn. The student or the apprentice will be hired by an employer, and we have many partners across many different occupations. You're certainly not limited to that. Certainly, we always welcome new employers and would love to partner with additional partners to have opportunities for our students. The students will literally work full-time for the employer. They go to school, typically nights and weekends, where the employer is paying for all of the fees, and the student is receiving on-the-job training, and they are receiving a mentor that assists them through the company that they're with, and they receive progressive wages. So here's the best of every single thing that they could potentially have. And like Miguel said, the employer is paying for the schooling. He doesn't incur that student debt, but yet he has a skill that's going to take him beyond. And when this apprenticeship ends, that does not end the relationship with that employer. The student continues to be a full-time employee with that particular company. So it's a win-win because it's an opportunity for employers to train and basically from the ground up, train an employee for their particular organization and culture. And it's a student's opportunity to learn and be part of that organization and really be a contributing person to that culture and organization from day one.
Absolutely. You talked about relationship, and to me, that's, yes, you have the financial benefits, you have the experience benefit, but those relationships, I've heard time and time and time again from everybody that we've talked, for both the employer and the apprentices is the biggest thing, because new opportunities even can arise from those relationships for both the employer and the apprentices. So if you want, I know that I mentioned in some of our previous conversations, go to our Facebook page, go to Dragon Digital Radio, check out other videos so you can get, maybe you're like, okay, BMed is not the field that I want to be. What other opportunities you have? Go through our videos. You'll see that we have, like Adrian said, about 11 other apprenticeships for you. And we have covered, I don't want to say all of them. I don't think we've gotten there yet, but we've covered a good number of the apprenticeships. So you can go back and get more information, get better ideas. And you can also visit howardcc.edu/apprenticeship to get all the information about it. Adam, biomedical engineering technology apprenticeship. That's a mouthful. I want you to help us unpack what that means. I want you to help us, understand what this career is like and what this field looks like.
All right. Pretty much that long title, it covers the fact that we maintain and manage all the medical equipment that a patient deals with, that all the equipment that's used on the patient for their stay in the medical facility, whether it's EKG machines or X-ray machines or the blood pressure cuffs or pumps or OR tables or anything in the ORs, anything anywhere in the whole hospital for the whole stay, we maintain and manage. We do monthly maintenance services on certain pieces of equipment, on life support equipment, on non-life support equipment. We correct any issues if it breaks down during the procedure, anything we find. Our goal is to not be there really for the staff. Our goal is for them not to see us, for it to never break down, to prevent any breakdown from happening. We want to ensure a smooth ride for the patient because there's many pieces to the puzzle in the hospital. I say that from a hospital standpoint. There's also third-party companies that travel from medical facility, their nursing home, long-term care facility, doctor's offices, that they have also medical equipment. But then there's also the manufacturers that specialize in their own pieces of equipment. I'm in the hospital. We have a wide variety from X-ray, ultrasound, OR equipment, open heart equipment, regular inpatient medical surgical units, oncology, pediatrics, all that. We have all that. So it's really where you want to go. But it's a great field to be in because you can put your hands on so much equipment and make such a difference for the staff. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
This might be an unfair question, but like, who would you say is the right candidate, or maybe what are you looking for in someone when somebody comes and says, I want to have an apprenticeship in this field? What are you looking for? Who should be maybe considering this?
Someone who can, someone who likes to hustle, someone who likes to juggle things around, someone who's detail oriented, very detail oriented, someone who has some networking background or has an aptitude for networking for the IT networks, because a lot of our equipment is touching the IT network and there's troubleshooting to happen. Someone who's detail oriented and wanting to make a difference.
And definitely someone who can communicate, because communication is something
Yes,
that they're going to
absolutely.
have to interact with both, staff to make sure that the equipment is operating. And, think about it, because typically a BMed engineer is going to speak one language and a nurse may speak a different language. So they need to make sure that they can communicate and understand what they're really trying to say from one party to the other to get that equipment fixed or maintained.
Miguel, I want to hear from you. I want to hear, what your days look like at an apprenticeship.
My days consist of anything and everything. It could go from working on a very complex OR table to checking out a networking issue that he speaks of, because we were supposed to have one mentor with the program, but I was blessed enough to be in a very tight-knit group of people over at Union Memorial, where I have a lot of senior technicians that I view as my mentors as well. And they all have their own specialty areas. For instance, I have a guy who's a senior engineer and he does OR. My personal official mentor is our networking specialist, and the other senior engineer is an ultrasound specialist. So my days can literally be anything and everything. And I'm grateful that they noticed fairly quickly that I'm an avid and quick learner and that I like and I'm not afraid of anything. So I've been exposed to a lot of things in the hospital, a lot of things in the past 6 months.
Adam, as a supervisor, and when you're coming up with these apprenticeships, what's your goal for the students, right? Like, how are you deciding what they're going to help with, what kind of tasks they're going to be working on? Or is it just really, we're going to have somebody here, we know what classes they're taking, and we're just going to bring them right in with us and let them experience the day as we're experiencing too?
A little bit of both. We every month we do preventive maintenance on certain types of equipment. So was it in August, we'll do the defibrillators. In September, we'll do the ventilators. And Miguel will help and assist the technician that does work on those, so he can get familiar with those pieces of equipment and the procedures on how to check them out correctly. But then also maybe a OR table goes down in the OR. So then Gary pulls Miguel aside and has him troubleshoot the OR table for like a power supply issue or tracking issue of it not going up and down correctly. So it can be random. It can be very random.
As all of our apprenticeship occupations, we have submitted a list of tasks that are completed during the course of the apprenticeship. So that is something, it's a very broad outline. It does have some ability to be a little bit more flexible, but we provide that particular list to all of our partner businesses based on that occupation. So you have a framework of what the training does need to occur. And then obviously there's many opportunities for additional training that is very specific to the organization that they're working for.
Like, like Miguel just said, I have one person who I am assigned with, but yet I'm talking to all of these other people and I'm learning from everything that they're doing. So it's like you signed up for one class and you ended up having like 5 or 6 other right there, just, by being there present at your apprenticeship. Adrian, let's talk about that educational piece. Let's talk about, how that comes into play and how that merges and completes this experience for our students.
Absolutely. So the BMET, which is what we refer to this as apprenticeship, that actually has 2 parts. There is a pre-apprenticeship opportunity for the students that they must complete on their own prior to being part of the apprenticeship program. The pre-apprentice is 14 academic credits. They will receive English, math, physics, and one additional BMET course. So that equals the 14 credits. Once they finish that, then the employer will do the 46 other credits. So they will receive their AAS degree at the end of this program. This program, when they start as an apprentice, is about 3.5 years. So if you count the pre-apprentice, that can be about a 4-year program. So they, and this is one of the occupations that will end up with the 2-year degree. Not all of our apprenticeships do have the 2-year degree, but this particular one does. And, all of our organizations typically do encourage their apprentices to continue. And normally after the apprenticeship instruction completes, they have the ability to take even more classes, potentially towards their 4-year degree. And normally most organizations do have some tuition reimbursement opportunities that can also continue to support them with taking courses.
Miguel, talk to us about, what it is like from the student's perspective, right? To have this full-time job and then to know that you also have your classes, to take on this, it sounds like a big responsibility. It sounds like a big commitment. So talk to us about, from your perspective, what that really feels like and what that really looks like for our students.
So as Adam spoke on a little bit earlier, he said to be in this field, you really got to be a hustler. And I think my athletic background really allows me to handle all of this and allows myself to, I know when I'm tired, I know if I'm working myself too much, and I know how to maintain the balance throughout a day. So I think COVID was, it was interesting with how classes were set up and how work is set up, but it was also geared towards the classes would be always after 4:30 when I got off. And I live in Towson, which is about an hour away with traffic from Columbia. So I'd leave like right after work, and I never was late to class, always made every class, did everything I needed to do. But like I said, it's just a sacrifice. Like I feel in debt to them. Like I feel like I need to do my part since they're doing so much for me. And it's just like, I'm having a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Adam, talk to us about, why you guys decided to offer an apprenticeship opportunity with HCC. What was it in it for you? I mean, Miguel just said, I feel like I'm in debt with them because they're doing so much. What inspired you guys to say, let's partner with HCC and let's offer this opportunity for students?
That's a great question. This field is an unknown field. And there's a large portion of the field that are baby boomers in their late 50s, 60s, and even early 70s. It's very hard to find a qualified technician, someone with experience working on medical equipment. And to get in the field, you have to either have a degree or previous experience. Well, all those people are leaving or retiring or going part-time. So and not many people know about the field. When I was looking to get out of the automotive field, I never heard about it, and I heard about it, and I kind of blew it aside. I pushed it aside for about a year, and then I got back into it, and I realized how great it was. But it's just an unknown field, and we've had a job posting out. Like a couple years ago, we had a job posting out. It was 6 months, and only one qualified candidate applied. So there's not many people out there, and for us to join a program where we can cultivate and mold someone into a great technician that will hopefully be here for many, many, many years, and will be a great worker and understands where we are coming from or what our needs are of the hospital. I think it's a great chance to succeed on both parts. So.
No pressure, Miguel, but I think you signed up for a long term here.
Hey, it's a family business.
But let's talk about that, Adam, and that that expectation of that commitment. Adrian kind of talked a little bit about it earlier when she said, after you're done with your apprenticeship, it's not like you guys are okay. It was nice meeting you. Go find a job. Good luck in the market out there. Talk to us about what happens after that apprenticeship.
Well, we haven't got there yet, but there will be a spot open. So because after spending so much time with the mentor that he works with, the mentors that he works with, and all the time that we've stopped doing our work to show him how to figure something out, how to troubleshoot, how to diagnose, how to maintain something, we're vested into him just as much as he is into us, and we want to, keep him. So, I mean, there will be a spot open. So, yeah.
How many apprentices do you guys see? And do you see this being a sustainable model for you guys? Is this something that you guys are excited that you want to maybe expand and offer more opportunities, and where you can see, maybe we can bring 5 people at a time or something like that? Talk to us about what you envision for this apprenticeship and an apprenticeship field in general in the future.
Well, I come from the hospital, and we have a big department of 9 people. So it's all relative of the size of the hospital, the size of the department. And right now during COVID, it's a little hard to just create positions. But I saw an opportunity that someone left or someone went down to part-time, and I created this position, and I talked to my boss saying, this is a very hard field to hire. And he agreed, because he's known even before even before I took the position, my previous boss, he, for many years, it was hard to find qualified biomeds, and so he knew that it's so hard to fill. So when I told him about this program, he jumped on board. So I mean, I do see us maybe having another apprentice after he graduates, because it's very nice to be able to mold someone into a great technician. So I do see in our future. But I guess it's all more so relative on the size of the hospital, size of the company. But I think all the hospitals, third-party companies, manufacturers do see that there's a need for more biomeds, because they're all stealing people from each other, and people are moving around sometimes. So it's it can be hard to fill. So,
Adrian, I would love to hear from you. I mean, there's like a challenge that we're identifying with employers to find qualified professionals. We're providing with opportunity and education. I'd love to kind of ask you that a similar question is like, what do you see, in the future of apprenticeships? Do you see this field continuing to grow? Do you see that employers are really more excited and more open? Because we heard on Tuesday from Brenda from AT&T, and she said there is risk to it, right? But she also said that she thought what they were getting out of that, the risk was minimized through all the value that they were getting through it. So talk to us about, what an apprenticeship is fulfilling and what it's doing for the market.
Well, Adam just touched on one of the things that I see happen in a lot of occupations across the board is, they're having trouble finding employees that have the skills that are necessary. So what ends up happening is one employer will dangle a carrot, normally more money, and they're literally job hopping for very minimal raises because they can command the higher dollars. That is not a good business practice moving forward, because again, and he also spoke regarding the fact that, this is a silver population in the sense that they are going to be experiencing quite a few retirements. So how are we preparing the younger generations in order to have the skills necessary to step in and continue employment? So that is crucial to an apprenticeship. And it is an opportunity. Many companies, understand truly about an intern. It gives them labor, someone that can come and do limited amount of work for a limited amount of time. Well, in the case of an apprenticeship, that's the total opposite. This is where you truly can do full-on training, and you have the benefit of that particular person being employed with you and continue to be employed with you. So as far as apprenticeship, that is a huge buzzword right now with a lot of the workforce development funding that's coming down the pike. We are in conversations with additional occupations to expand apprenticeship even more. So hopefully we'll be back again with more interviews with other occupations. But definitely it is an opportunity to grow your talent pipeline. Yes, it is risky, but there is a huge benefit where you can start developing that culture and mold that particular apprentice or employee. and they're going to stay with you. We always recommend that our employers put a contract with the apprentices where they are required to serve an additional amount of time once the apprenticeship ends. We want the employers to receive that return on investment. And truly to receive that return on investment, there does need to be a contract of some sort that the employee or the apprentice will stay with the company XYZ time after the related instruction does finish. And if not, then there certainly should be a repayment schedule, because they've certainly invested and paid for that schooling, that they should have the opportunity to have that reimbursed to them.
Absolutely. Talk to us about the process. Somebody who's listening, somebody who's watching, maybe they're saying, okay, I'm interested in finding more information. I want to know more. How can I get started? Where do they go, and what's that process like?
You definitely go to our homepage, howardcc.edu/apprenticeship. And once you are on our homepage with apprenticeship, we have all of our occupations listed. So you can definitely click on the BMET occupation, and that will have how to apply, how to enroll. It will also provide you with the course schedules, etc. So there's a lot of information of what's needed to be able to be a BMET apprentice. Our next, we are currently accepting applications and looking. We have many students who have prior coursework. So this is not necessarily, and that's another good point, apprenticeship is not necessarily for someone who is directly out of high school. As Miguel took a year off from school. So this is certainly an opportunity for students who maybe aren't sure yet and have taken some of that time off and now really want to go explore something that is truly sustainable going forward. We also have many career changers in our programs. We have students that have received 4-year degrees as well as master degrees that have come through apprenticeship. We've also had students that have come through our apprenticeship with these particular degrees, but they have not had on-the-job training and therefore are having a very difficult time getting employed. So here's an opportunity to come back, train for something, take some additional coursework, and be on your way for a career.
Could you just remind us of some of the other opportunities that HCC offers through the apprenticeship programs?
Absolutely. We have occupations. Again, we have 11 occupations. We have 4 occupations in IT. We have 3 occupations in software development. We have our BMET occupation. And then we do have HVAC and electrical and construction management. So they're all of the opportunities. Of those 11, 9 occupations, HCC is both the sponsor, which means we do all of the paperwork with the employers, assist them in what they need to do. And then the other 2 occupations, we're a related instruction provider. We partner with both IEC, which is for the electrical, that's a trade organization, as well as the Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors of Maryland, which is another trade association. So they do provide these, they're the sponsors and provide a lot of that paperwork and necessary business that's needed in order to maintain an apprenticeship.
Miguel, did you find that it was really difficult, maybe confusing, or was it really easy for you to get started with your apprenticeship?
In what sense? Like the actual work that I do, or?
Not the work, but the application itself, and getting involved and getting registered and fulfilling the requirements and actually being able to get started working. Because I'm sure that at your work, that's a process that you're building on and you're learning more and more every day. But the process of registration and applying for it and figuring out how that works, because, Adrian just talked about, you have to go to HCC, then we also have to find the employer, we have to connect all the dots and then get started. For some people that might be like, oh, that seems like a lot of work. So I would love to hear from you. If it is, it's a lot of information, but when it's actually applied, is it easy to go through that?
It honestly is a very easy process, but like Adrian said, it's much easier for someone like me who has done some time in college. And going forward, when I started my pre-apprenticeship classes, there were a few classes that I could roll over that I didn't have to take going forward. So that made my process even easier. It's like, I believe I only had to take 2 or 3 pre-apprenticeship classes and there was 5 or 6 required. So that was very easy. And it's just a step process. You did your application, and then I believe, I don't remember if I took a math test first and then Adrian and myself had an interview, or either way, but it was just like a 3 or 4 step process. And once you get going, your feet's on the ground, you just start running.
Did you have to apply and interview for the job also? Was that part of the process, or was it just applying and interviewing at HCC?
Well, how it worked over at MedStar was a little different than how it worked for my colleagues over at HCC. At HCC, we had people sign on and they would reach out and offer. So I also received offers from other hospitals and whatnot. But since I was a patient transporter at MedStar, I just kept honestly bugging this guy every couple of weeks. And I just stayed on him because I really wanted to work here. Because like I said, it's a family business. My entire family's worked for MedStar almost.
And then every time he'll come into my office and like, this guy's really motivated. He really wants this. So he's willing to jump over the hurdles and obstacles of joining the HCC program and going through all that. So he must be committed and knows what he wants. So I like that a lot.
There were many conversations that Miguel and I had and Adam and I had. So, we knew that both parties were interested. It was just a matter of timing. And again, this was all being done during COVID. So it was a lot of patience on both sides, but I'm glad it finally worked out. And it was great when Miguel said, "Hey, I have my offer from Adam." And it was fantastic. We love hearing these success stories.
So, Miguel, for anybody and everybody who's listening and watching, and they're thinking, okay, maybe an apprenticeship is for me, I'd like to consider it. What would what advice do you have? What do you want them to know? What do you think is the most crucial thing that they should consider, they should keep in mind if they want to go the apprenticeship route?
Well, when going the apprenticeship route, you really have, like you said, you have to be self-motivated more than anything. It can't take you getting there to kick up the engine. The engine needs to start before you leave the house. Like, you have to be ready to do the work and be diligent enough to make sure that you can maintain your work life and your school life at the same time, because that balance is definitely needed, because as both are equally important.
Adam, what would you like to tell other employers out there who might be watching, listening? Maybe they have a Miguel who's bugging them and they're like, I want to further my career. Can you help me out? Can we do something, right? What would you tell employers out there? Why should they consider offering apprenticeships?
The benefit that the program brings to the hospital or an employer is great, because the outlook out there, I mean, and anytime you put a job posting on, you're waiting weeks and weeks for one valid person, or one person that could actually fill your needs. This is an opportunity to create what you want, and it has a high percentage of return of getting that, to have all the qualities of what you want in a biomed. So it's a great program, and you just have to trust it.
Adrian, what would you like people to keep in mind when they think about apprenticeships? As the market continues to grow, as we reopen things, and the economy starts moving again as it used to before COVID, what do you want people to keep in mind when they think of apprenticeships, when they think of creating opportunities for new employees? Why should they consider an apprenticeship?
Lots of different reasons. And again, as we've talked today, it's molding that employee, an employee that you can start at the beginning, take them through the process. They remain your employee at the end of the apprenticeship, and they continue to be productive to your organization, which is absolutely fabulous. The apprenticeship office has just recently added some new staff. And one of the things that we are working on is having more regular information sessions regarding our apprenticeships. And we'll probably segment them into different occupations. And then periodically, we'll probably do an information session on apprenticeship in general. So we'll have both the student opportunities to learn more about apprenticeship, as well as we'll have the employers have an opportunity to learn more about apprenticeship. That's the key to our partnership, and to be able for our students to have a place to go is truly the partnerships that we have with the local businesses. If you're seeing this today, you like the term of apprenticeship and you're an employer, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. Currently, there are many incentives that are available through the state of Maryland Department of Labor with some reimbursement to employers, some tax incentives, and many other opportunities that are available. But you can always reach out to us at apprentice, APPRENTICE at howardcc.edu. Again, that's apprentice at howardcc.edu. And we'll be happy to answer any student inquiries and or employer inquiries also.
One thing I would love for you, Adrian, to clarify for everybody, because I know that usually when we think of farther in our careers, we're like spring semester, fall semester, and we start those processes of application right before that. When do we need to look into an apprenticeship? Do they fall on the same time frames? Do they have their own time frames? When should people look into registering and applying for them?
All of our apprenticeships are a little different in whether it's a pre-apprentice, whether it's a regular apprentice, whether it's a degree, whether it's a certificate that you'll earn or industry certification. So they're all a little different. We are working on making sure that it's very clear on our website when the start dates are, and normally it's several months before that is when applications, etc., are due. Potentially, if you've not been a student in Howard Community College before, you may need to take placement tests for your English and math. We do encourage people to reach out to us and we can assist with that because that is a process. And you just have to remember it takes time. It's not something that you can do all of this a week before classes start and be ready to go. We like as much lead time as possible to be able to get everything accomplished. And we're happy to sit down with an individual or with an employer to help you with that process.
So if you're interested in finding out more, if you're curious about an apprenticeship, if you think maybe, it sounds interesting, it sounds good, I'm not going to have, debt at the end, I'm going to be able to further my career, I'm going to get hands-on experience throughout the entire process, I think it's worth, checking out the website and investigating. Well, the day is today. Don't wait until fall semester, don't wait until summer 2 or whatever other semester it is. Today is when you want to go check that website. Today is when you want to go dive into that information, because depending on the field that you're looking at, you might be right on time, or you might have some time to get some of the things ready before the application process even starts and begins. So anything else? We have only about 10 more minutes left here in our conversation. Anything else that you guys would like to say before we wrap our conversation up today?
It's a great field to be in. There's a lot of growth in it as the years go on. And it's a fun job. I like it. I know Miguel likes it. So I say go for it.
And we definitely appreciate MedStar, both Adam and Miguel, for taking time out today. And we really appreciate Adam to be one of our partners for the BMET apprenticeship.
And I really appreciate all of you taking time this morning to speak with me and talk to us and let us know about what the BMET apprenticeship is all about. If this is something you're interested in, contact Adrian, contact her office. They're there to help you, to guide you. Miguel just talked to us about his experience, and I could tell, I could feel that he's enjoying. I love that relationship that I see between Miguel and Adam. And to me, again, that's the most valuable thing of apprenticeship. You build that relationship. You open doors just by having that close proximity to that employer. And it really is a good way to further your career. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please share this information with your friends, your family, maybe somebody it's interested in a career, and this might just be the right opportunity for them. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, I am Cris Oviedo.